Welcome to the world of Splatoon, and no, I'm not talking about the third or second one, I'm talking about the OG one, fresh off the Wii U, Splatoon. I started the story mode in this game a while back and never got to finish it, so what better time to do it than the present. Now I don't exactly remember what I was doing in this game, and what's worse is that I totally forgot the controls. Luckily, having played the test fire demo for Splatoon 3, it was pretty much the exact same layout. The only downside was that I couldn't use a regular controller to play. I had to use the Behemoth, or also known as the Wii U gamepad. It honestly wasn't too bad, just a little awkward to hold, but I got it down in no time. I decided to have a look around before I head out and go into the shops to see if I could buy anything. I clearly wasn't welcome here though. And here we are! From what I remember, I had to fight some octopus looking things in order to advance through levels, so I prepared by upgrading my gear. I wanted to upgrade my gun, but I didn't have enough of these orange ball things. I decided to unlock the Seeker Bomb instead. The cool thing about this bomb is that it supposedly homes in on targets. I couldn't test it right now, but I upgraded it anyways. I started my long trek up to where I left off from, which in the end was kinda useless because I realized that I could've just teleported using the gamepad. Nonetheless, we made it to our first level. Turns out, our first level was actually the boss of this area, so I guess we're starting it off with a fight. I ended up in some weird looking sewer place that was flooded by purple Kool-Aid, and there was also a sign with a fish crossed out on it. I ignored that and went straight to the ominous arena ahead of me, and there it was, a giant metal fish, with huge teeth if I may add. This man wasted no time and charged straight for me. Before I knew it, I was surrounded by its teeth, but fear not, because I could just shoot them off. Once I got all its teeth down, I didn't really know what to do. Shooting it didn't seem to work, so I tried the next best thing, being eaten. Clearly, I was wrong. Turns out, you're actually supposed to throw a bomb in its mouth, and voila, it was down for the count. It sprouted a tentacle, so I shot at it. It got mad and yelled at me, so I knew this fight wasn't over yet. It got up and was ready for round 2. But this time, it grew purple teeth. Now the thing about its purple teeth was that they were a little tougher than the white ones, so breaking them took a few more seconds more. Not only were its teeth tougher, but it also launched them like frickin' missiles. Fortunately, I could break them, so I didn't have to wait for him to come eat me again. And just like that, boom! Round 2 was over, but he wasn't having any of it. I guess it was go big or go home for the guy, because it brought out the big guns. The golden teeth. Now, these teeth were way more durable than the last two. It took way more shots to break them, and I actually died doing just that. Nevertheless, I still won the round. It exploded into a million pieces and left behind some orange balls. And a funny looking fish. I collected everything and headed to the next area. After swimming up concrete blocks, I arrived to this weird floating block place. I guess this is what it would have looked like if Isaac Newton didn't invent gravity? And is that a UFO? I wasted no time to get to the UFO and started ascending the floating blocks. Once I got there, I couldn't do anything. Turns out I'd eaten more zapfish, so I guess I had to go find more. I then remembered that in order to actually get the zapfish, I had to go around the area and find the invisible entrances. I eventually found one and dove right into it. I landed in some circus looking place, and hey look, I'm yellow now. The main gimmick of this level were these things called splat switches. When you shot enough ink into them, they moved the whole object they're attached to. It wasn't long before I found my first challenge. I had to decide between an Inkzooka and a bubbler. The decision really wasn't that hard. I went with the Inkzooka because it simply sounded cooler. I wanted to use it as soon as I could, so right after I landed, I loaded it up and immediately died. I came back with guns blazing and managed to get all these ball-looking boys. But to my surprise, these tentacle guys came up out of nowhere and started blasting me. I died once again. This time, I decided to take things a little more slowly and carefully take them all out. It took a little bit longer, but I got them all in the end. The level had the same concept overall, which was climb some blocks, take out some enemies, and ink the switch to advance. It was going pretty well until the end, where I died twice. The first one happened because I was trying to get this key and got run over by this machine thing. The second time was because I thought the best defense was a good offense, but they proved me wrong. I took things slow once again and got through with no problems. On to the next level. I arrived at some place that looked like it was underground, but not really. I didn't know what was going on. Now the main mechanic for this level were these sponges. When you shoot them with ink, they expand, making a path for you to swim through. I also found out that when enemies shoot it, the sponge shrinks down. I found that out the hard way. This tentacle man really didn't want me to cross, so I had to come up with a different approach. Using both sides of my brain, I came up with this genius play. I filled in both sponges and backed away so he didn't notice me. Then I sent one of those seeker bombs. It worked flawlessly. I found an Inkzooka, shot some guys, sneaked across a bridge, and found this cool helmet. And it looks like I'm back at square one. Only this time, I'm with some owl-looking guys who, instead of using guns, he throws up bombs. All I did was swim faster than he could throw up and killed him. Honestly, these guys aren't even a threat at all. I progressed through the level, filling sponges, shooting some balloonfish boys, and taking out some more owls. Before I knew it, I was at the last stretch. I got my Inkzuka and jumped down. Wait, are those actual people? These guys were called Octolings and could actually bob and weave out of their own ink, just like me, but they stood no chance against the Inkzuka. This one fought with me over a sponge. I won and then took her life. I got her second Zapfish and now we're on to the next level. The next level went by pretty quick. I landed in some factory looking place and was pit up against more of these Octolings, only this time they had leaves coming out of their heads. I don't really know if that made a difference cause they felt the same as regular ones. I followed the orange ball road, picked up an Inkzuka, killed some more Octolings, swam on the floor, ignored this guy, and got our third Zapfish. The next level had a little bit more going on. I was in a place that looked like it was in the sky, but wasn't? Anyways, there were these spinning things that I either had to jump over or swim through depending on if it was solid or not. I got to these Octo guys who were riding on some Roombas, but instead of cleaning, they were making a bigger mess. And they weren't just Roombas, they were turret Roombas. But alas, they were no match for my Sneak 100 skill. I silenced every single one of them. I played some Super Mario Odyssey, swam, avoided more of these spinning things, and went back to the turret Roombas. I didn't really have a plan of attack, so I just attacked. And hey, 2 out of 3 isn't too bad. For the last one, I just shoved him off the ledge. I got a yayer for it. I then splatted, avoided, killed, bonked, fell again, climbed, and collected our 4th Zapfish. Welcome to the Desolate Wasteland, or better known as our 5th level. In this one, our big obstacle are these machine things called flooders. And as their name implies, they do just that, flood everything in their path. Not only that, but if you happen to be in their view, they will literally laser in on you. I got so scared, I jumped off the ledge. All I had to do was wiggle my way through all of them to find the key in order to unlock this box. It was pretty handy that the mini-map on the gamepad told me where everything was. Once I got the box unlocked, I flew up onto the 2nd floor and was greeted by some Octo boys. They looked like they were having fun riding around. I killed them both. The second area had the same stuff going on, so the first step was to find the key. I didn't really like how slow splatting ink was, so I used 100% of my brain once again to fix my problem. I used one of those seeker bombs to make a path for me, and just like that, we were zooming through the area. I got my key, unlocked the box, and rode the geyser of ink to the 2nd floor, and now instead of flooders, I had to deal with a sniper. He died with relative ease. I got my key and unlocked the box and flew towards victory. 5th Zapfish down. Our 6th and final level took us to what looked like a skate park, only instead of skaters, it was filled with snipers, and this large man who was dubbed the Octo Striker. I knew this man meant business because he kept raining down nukes everywhere I was. On top of that, I had no idea what to do, so I did the only thing I knew how to do: kill. After my rampage, I was told that I needed a key. It wasn't that far away, so it was all good. I flew up and confronted the big man himself. He was chilling in a hot tub. He tried to run away and summon these owl guys, but that didn't stop me from splatting him up. He popped like a balloon, and I was awarded our final Zapfish for my efforts. Now that I had all 6 of my Zapfish, I can finally get into the UFO. It shot off into the stratosphere, and before I knew it, I was face to face with this giant eel. It was a trap apparently, but that wouldn't have stopped me regardless. All of a sudden, the eel got a sucking of a lifetime, and disappeared into this giant floating thing. And there he is, the man whose name we not speak of. Squid napper of old guys, sucker of eels, this guy. He started laying down some sick beats, then told me he'll remix my face, so I knew he had to die. He backed off and started firing some fish missiles, and then instantly tried to fist me. It was confusing times. And speaking of confused, I didn't know what to do. Shooting the missiles didn't do anything, and he was pretty much invincible to any splat attack. My last resort was to try and ink his fists, which didn't do much until I shot them in the air. Once I shot them back enough times, they would bounce back right into his face. Every time he got hit, he flew back, which revealed more of the platform. And once I was at the end, he unleashed a giant bomb. Luckily, he forgot to cover the weak spot, so just like his arms, I kept returning it until it hit him. He called me a hipster and flew away. It was now the second phase of the battle, and this time I had to traverse the area with these propeller things. Meanwhile, Mr. Octopus Man started cranking up the heat. Not only did he speed up his firing rate, but he also had a frickin' laser. Luckily, I was nimble enough to avoid everything, even on these small platforms. Although in the end, I brought about my own demise, cause I lowered myself onto his laser. But hey, I learned that when you die, you don't have to start from the beginning. I made my way to the end once again and jumped off the platform instead. He unleashed his giant bomb, and this time he backed it up with a laser. The annoying thing about this was that I couldn't stand right in front of it to shoot it, so I had to go from the side. The bad thing about this was that I couldn't see if any missiles were coming. Luckily, that didn't happen. All I had left now was the final hit, which I got just in the nick of time. The third phase was off to a normal start, until he started throwing these different types of bombs out. These ones were round, and when they exploded, they spawned in those owl-looking boys. We also fought over the sponge. Of course, I won in the end. I arrived to the final platform, which was actually a little different this time around. I got an Inkzuka, which, I'll be honest, I didn't use at all, and these balloon fish, which were actually a big help. Whenever they explode, anything in its vicinity will go with it. Whether it's missiles, fists, or bombs, it really didn't matter. He asked me who I was messing with, and I still didn't know. This is why introductions are important, kids. It was time for Phase 4, and don't worry, this Phase 4 is a lot better than what Marvel's doing. Anyways, it was open season for DJ Octopus Man. He was bombarding me with everything he had. I'm talking about 4 missiles at a time, fists of fury, and several orders of laser. On top of that, I had to navigate through invisible platforms. It was really scary. Fortunately for me, it didn't last long and I made it to the top. Although the top was a whole nother story. Not only was the platform very slim, making it hard to avoid everything, whenever he fired his laser, my platform was pretty much cut in half. This made it especially hard when I was trying to deflect the giant bomb back. This one had glasses. I even tried to use the balloon strategy once again, but alas, my efforts were in vain. But I eventually got him. He backed off once again, only this time it was different. His beats were turned off and new music started playing. It was none other than the Squid Sisters. Let's just pretend I knew who they were. I found out this guy was your grandpa, and now it's time for the final push. We made it to the 5th and final phase, and let me tell you, DJ Octavio over here really wanted me gone. Throwing out everything he had, making my way through all these zip lines made it very much difficult. Remember how I said the final platform from before was small? Well, this one was even smaller. Whenever he shot his laser, I had to duck in one of these inlets just to avoid it. I started getting the hang of the evasion, but my only problem now was the giant bomb. See, when the 3rd time came to bounce it back, it shot out like Mach 6, making it impossible to shoot in time. I guess he kind of felt bad because the 3rd time was different. It was a perfect overhead right towards me. I delivered the final blow, smacking him right into his stadium thing, then he said something in Australian and soon exploded. I was greeted with news saying that the great Zapfish returned to his tower, so with that, mission accomplished. I went back to see if anything was different, and hey look, he's stuck in a snow globe. And on that final note, our journey was over. I can now officially say I've finished Splatoon, and I gotta say, I enjoyed it through and through, even though I didn't really know what was going on. Now I just have to do the same with the second one.
This one's still in its packaging.